Hey guys, I hope that you are doing great. This is the second video of the handstand guide. In the first video, we saw the wrist warm-up, which is really important. You have to do it every time you train. Then we saw how to walk up the wall correctly and how to kick up into a handstand. This is really the exercises that I would recommend if you are starting from zero. And today we're gonna talk about the shoulder mobility, which in my case or in my experience, I think it's the most important part of handstand. Some people think that handstand is about the strength, but actually it's more about having a mobile shoulder, mobile and stable shoulder. So that's what we are going to talk about it. And the good thing is that the things that I'm going to be showing today, you can start to train them also from zero. Like you don't need to be holding a handstand already, because these are complementary exercises that will help you to improve your shoulder mobility. It is really common to see that people confuse mobility with stretching exercises, and mobility is not the same as flexibility. For you to understand better these concepts, in case you haven't heard about it before, I am gonna show you an example. When I try to reach to my back with my hand in this way, and I don't support with my other hand, so what I have to do is push with my muscles to go more and more into that position. But there are some muscles that are pushing me there and other muscles that are stretching. So this is what we call an active stretching, because I am using my force, I am using my strength to go to that stretching position. In the moment that I use something external to push me even more there, you can see now I can go way more, but not because I am going with my muscles, but because I am pushing with my other arm or pulling with my other arm. Now it becomes more of a passive stretching. A passive stretching is when we use external force to go to that stretching position. It could be like now, using the other arm to pull your arm to the position. It could also be when we use weights to push us to a position, or also when we use gravity to push us to a position. And this is the difference between flexibility and mobility. Mobility is more when we are able to move in, let's say, an active, more like an active stretch, when we go there because our muscles allow us to go there and we are able to do it, and not because we have external force pushing us there. And this part is when it's really important in the handstand, because we're going to be upside down and we want to push the shoulders as much as we can up, and we are actually carrying our weight that we have to push away from the floor. And that's why it's really important, the shoulder mobility in the handstand. In this video, I'm going to talk about 3 really important factors to improve your mobility. One of them is the passive stretching. So just because I said that mobility is not flexibility doesn't mean that we don't need to stretch. That's also an important part of it. The other part of it is active stretching, or these exercises where we try to go to our end of the range of motion. And the third factor that many people forget is the muscle tightness. Remember, when I am doing a movement with my body, there are some muscles that push me into that position, that do this movement, and there are some muscles in the opposite side that help to do the opposite movement. And if those muscles are tight, are going to be a limitation for us to go in the direction that we want to go. So these are these 3 important factors, and remember, we are all different people. So it could be that for you, one of the factors is more a limitation than other factors. So it is really important that you do the exercises of all 3 of them, and you measure yourself in which one. For example, if you are doing passive stretching and you feel like you are not going that much to the position you want to go, well, it means you need to improve more of the passive stretching. And most of the time, if you have to improve passive stretching, you also have to improve the active. But sometimes you can be really flexible. Sometimes you can go to a certain position with external help really well. But when you do it without that external help, is really difficult. So it means you don't have to improve that much your flexibility anymore, but you need to do more active stretching or exercises that bring you to the end of range of motion. And for the last part, which it will be the muscle tightness, we're gonna be using here some foam rolls and balls to massage some muscles. And if you feel when you are massaging those muscles that there is a lot of tension, so you feel that it hurts, it probably means you have a lot of tightness on those muscles. And we need to release them because they are like, let's say, the opposite muscles to bring us to this position up. So we need to release them in order to be easier to go into that position. So those are the three things that we're gonna be working in this video. So guys, now I'm gonna show you some flexibility exercises. One of the muscles that I want to stretch is the lats. So that's what we are gonna do what we're gonna do now. And now I'm gonna show it here with this pole, but you can also do it at home with a door frame, for example. And it works like this. You're gonna stand next to it really close. You're gonna go with the arm where you're gonna stretch above your head and grab it like this. So you could grab the frame of the door, for example, and make sure that your palm is facing you and not out. Even though you could do both, but in this case, I will go like this. So hold here, and what you want to do is feel like you're stretching this part. So try to push yourself away from the bar while holding, and hopefully you will feel some stretching here. If you don't feel it, try to play with the angle of your body. Sometimes we are too much like this, like almost facing the pole, and we should be looking into that direction. So try to really play a little bit and see if you feel the stretch. Do it the other side too, obviously. Sometimes we have one side that you will feel it way more than other. And as I said before, sometimes, because we are all different, the limitations are different. So it could be that you don't feel that much stretching in this position, which means that maybe you don't have that much tightness in your lats. And that would be actually a good thing because it's one less thing that you have to worry about. So just try all of this stretching that I will be showing, and if you don't feel that much stretch, you know it's not so much of a problem for you. But if you feel the stretch, then try to make those stretching every time. For each stretch that I'm gonna show, I would recommend to do at least 2 sets of 1 minute per side, obviously. And then you can choose which ones are the ones that you feel the most and do them in your warm-up before you start doing the handstands. The next exercise, you can also do it on a frame of a door, and it's going to be mainly for our chest. You will feel it between your chest and your shoulder. If you have tightness there, we're gonna go more or less shoulder height to the pole or to the frame of the door. We are gonna cross the leg on that side to the front. And then it's really important that you first think about going forward, like you really wanna open here, like if someone will be pulling you from here. And once you cannot go up front anymore, you want to look in the opposite direction, and hopefully you will feel some stretching here. Remember, we want to go in the position for around a minute. And something that you could also do is going higher with the elbow up, so you have another position. So you go and do exactly the same. Go first forward, go to the right. If you don't feel so much the stretching, then try to play around with the position that you are doing and see where you feel it the most. Also, sometimes you can feel it more in the higher position, sometimes more in the lower position. So try to really play around to see where you feel the most the stretching. And remember, 2 sets for around 1 minute. For the next exercise, we want to feel our triceps or our lats also stretching. You can use a broomstick or use any stick and a bench or a chair, and it's gonna work like this. You're gonna grab the stick more or less shoulder wide apart, maybe a little bit wider, and make sure your elbows are in a little bit. Grab this way, then we go to the bench like this with the elbows, and we try to go as much deep as we can with our chest. So Go there and try to push yourself more and more into the position. Now, something really common in this exercise, and probably I was doing it, is that we arch our back like this. And we want to avoid that. We want to actually engage our core and try to keep our back as much neutral as possible, because this is a compensation. So we are not opening the shoulders anymore, we are just arching our back. So try to not arch your back while pushing down. So we go into the position, engage your core and push down. And a variation of this stretch that I really like to do is that while you are in that position, you're gonna move the stick right and left, because that's gonna add also rotation, movement in your shoulder. So it's also a really good variation to do. So I will show it now. I go to the position, I stretch, and I start moving the stick right and left. So guys, before we go to the active mobility exercises, we are gonna do the work with the foam roller and these balls that I have here. And we want to lose tightness in the muscles, especially in the lats that we stretched before, and also in some muscles in the middle of our back, which are the middle traps and lower traps, and also the rhomboids. Because if these muscles are tight, they are gonna limit us in this range of movement. That is the range of movement where we wanna go when we are into a handstand position. Now remember guys, to lose the tension in the muscles, it's also good to stretch. So the stretching exercise that we did comes together with these exercises that I'm gonna show now. And exactly as I have been telling you with the stretching, probably in some of these exercises you will feel it more than in the others, and then that will mean that you have more tension in that muscles where you feel it more, and then it's a sign that you have to work more in that area. So I'm gonna start with the black roll. I'm gonna lay it on the side like this and put it where my lats are. You wanna have the weight on the roll, and you want to just move around your lat, and maybe at some point you will feel like it is pushing you in a point that is tight, like it will hurt. And if you find that position, then you hold it there. It is not about just being like rolling like this. Actually, it's about finding those points that hurt and staying and pushing against it, so that maybe that pain that you feel will release slowly. So what you do is you hold it in that position and you put a timer, and I will say go maybe for a minute into that position, and hopefully you will feel the pain less and less. So again, go to one of those positions, stay, and then roll it a little bit and find another of those points that hurts a bit. I think you can see in my face that this point right here is really tight. So I'm gonna stay here for a moment. And at the end of the day, these things with the rolls, it's just about that. It's about going to the muscles that you wanna release tension, go and find the point, and then stay there, push into it to release the tension. You can also use your breath, because when I breathe in, I will expand my thorax, and that's also gonna make that I'm pushing more against the roll. So for the next positions, I'm not going to stop too much, because at the end of the day, it's the same that we just did, just in another part of our body. With the roll, you can still use it to just go on your back. So you go to your back, you go up with your butt, engage your core so that you are not like this. And you can also roll and find those points, and then hold it where you feel the most tension, and remember to push against the roll. So this will be one of those positions, and the other ones will be using this kind of balls. I will go for this one. I would actually prefer to just have one small ball, but you wanna target your traps, so your lower and middle traps, And also, as I showed you, the rhomboids is also a muscle that is more or less under the middle trap. So with this one, I'm gonna go and try to put it into that position of my body, or into that place of my body. And then I'm gonna do exactly the same that I did with the roll. I want to find those points where I feel there is tightness, and I want to hold it there. Before going to the next part of the video, I just want to mention, remember that those things here are made for massaging your muscles and not your bones. So you should never be pressing on a bone. For example, you should not press where your spine is. And this is something that can happen when you are trying to go to the trapezius or to the rhomboids. So try to make sure that you are not in the middle of your back, so not where your spine is, but on the sides of it. For the active mobility exercises, I want to show you 3 exercises. 2 of them are going to be on the floor. The first one is dolphin press. You can see this exercise in different variations. The one I'm going to show you, I will keep my hip a little bit higher because I want to start from here and try to push and press all the way, trying to open as much as I can my shoulders. So how does it work? It's pretty much like a planche position, or a plank position, sorry. Then what we need to be careful here is with the position of our shoulder. Now I am pushing my shoulders down to the floor in a protraction, and now it's a retraction. It's important that you understand these 2 movements of the shoulder. So when I push my shoulders to the front like this, is what we call a protraction. And when I put it back, is what I call a retraction. And what we do in a handstand is a shoulder flexion. But in order for our body to move correctly into a shoulder flexion, our scapula needs to move a little bit into an abduction position and an upward rotation. So that's why we are now working in this exercise, which is going to activate a muscle that is somewhere in this area that is called serratus, and it helps to move the scapula in that way. So we are going to start more or less into this position to the floor. Then I want to go to the position of a plank, but as I said before, I'm going to start already with the hip a little bit higher up. You can start in a retraction, push to a protraction, and press, 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 press. Try to go in your arm, between your arms, sorry, with your head, pushing and pushing and pushing, and come back down to the initial position. Shoulders up in a retraction, shoulders down in a protraction, and repeat. Remember, you always want to go to your end of the range of motion. That means you go until you feel you cannot open anymore, and you try to push there for around 2 seconds to open more than you thought. That is your limit, let's say like this. I want to think that every rep, I want to open more and more. Now, something really important is to really keep the shoulder into a protraction when we are pushing. So not that it looks like this. Now it's in a protraction, and then I go up, and know that somewhere here, your shoulders go up like this. So keep your shoulders always in the right place. The second exercise is gonna be a snow angel. We are gonna do it laying on the floor with our belly on the floor. And it's really important that you engage your core and your glutes when doing this exercise, so that you don't allow your back to go too much like this. So I'm going to lay down, and then from here, I engage my core and my glutes to try to keep my back as much flat as I can. Then I'm going to start into this position with the shoulders up. Actually, I can start in the front with the thumbs up, sorry. And then I go up as much as I can. Don't go too much like this. Always trying to keep your back flat and up. Keep your thumbs up, thumbs up, thumbs up. Somewhere here you start to rotate them internally and keep going, keep going, keep going. So guys, remember once again, the idea of these exercises is to push yourself all the time in your end of the range of motion. So for example, when I was doing the angel now, I was always thinking that my hands needs to go as high as I can while engaging my core, because then it's going to be more difficult. That's why you have to do it really slow, always focusing on that. And believe me, if you do it right, 5 reps are gonna be really hard. So I will say you can go for 2 or 3 sets from 5 to 8 reps max, and really focusing on doing them controlled and going to your end of the range of motion all the time. This is the last exercise I'm showing in this video, and believe me, if you do it right, it's really hard. You need a broomstick or any stick and the wall. And what is really important in this exercise is that you will try to keep your lower back always touching the wall. So you don't want to have any space between your lower back and the wall. You're gonna engage your core and your glutes in order to do that. If you have your feet more to the front, it's gonna be easier. If you have them closer to the wall, it's gonna be harder. And then what you want to do is more or less shoulder width, grab the stick and try to push your shoulders to the front and up at the same time, and go as close as you can to the mirror. You push, 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 push for around 3 seconds without separating your back, so don't do this. This is cheating. And come back down. So it is not about touching the wall, because then you will need to be really, really flexible and mobile. So it's about keeping everything of this active, and we go again. So up, 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 push it, push it, push it as much as you can. 1, 2, and back down. And keep going like this to 5 or even 8 reps. For me, 5 are really hard. So usually I do 5 and I take a break. So guys, that was it for this video. I know that the video is a bit long, but believe me, this is, for me, in my experience, the most important thing when doing handstand. So if you have shoulder mobility, good shoulder mobility, the handstand is gonna be way easier and it's gonna look way nicer, and you're gonna be able to do more difficult things earlier, for example, like going to one arm handstand. So really working your shoulder mobility. So again, that was it for this video. Thank you so much for watching, and remember to subscribe to the channel. That helps me a lot, and also to like the videos, because I'm getting views, which I am really thankful for it, but also pressing that like button will help me a lot. So again, I hope this works for you. I hope this is gonna be helpful, and we see us in the next video of the handstand or any workout. Ciao.